bit is a quick dive into Assistive Technology, a Microsoft Class Notebook, and the Edge browser. These tools can help any student who's struggling with the language demands of academic subjects.
There are three things we're going to show you today. The first one is Immersive Reader, the second is Speech to Text, and the third is Immersive Reader in the Edge browser.
All right, so you're in Class Notebook, and along the top, several commands. You go to View, and then click Immersive Reader.
The synthesis.
And while they're doing this, they can change. If it's a bit too slow, they can make it a little bit faster. They can change the voice and...
Photosynthesis. The leaves on plants, including trees, are their food factories. Using energy from the sun, they take the water.
Great. There are also reading preferences under the two little A's on top. This is where you can make the text size bigger or smaller, and you can change the font. Comic Sans is known to be a good font for students who are dyslexic. You can increase the spacing or make it a little bit bigger depending on what would help the student. They can also choose a theme. There's research that different learners learn better with a different background color to help it stick out more, or they can choose what they're comfortable with. Great, what else is there?
Right, we've also got translation. There's a couple of things in here. One of them is this handy thing called line focus. That's really useful for some people who get a bit overwhelmed by a lot of text, so it will take you through line by line.
Water that the roots have sucked from the ground and mix it with the carbon dioxide in the air to make food.
So just highlighting the one line can make it easier to follow along. We've also got picture dictionary. Picture dictionary is on, so if I click on a certain word, for example, plants, it will give you different definitions of that, and we'll come back to that. So we've got a factory plant and we've got two plants, so it can give you different contexts as well. Now you might have noticed that there is also something that doesn't look like English, that's Persian, and the reason for that is because you can actually translate by word into different languages. So in this case, we're on Persian, so oxygen. We've got the English, and you can get that read aloud for you just one
Oxygen.
word. You can also, now you can't get the Persian read out, but some languages you can, but you've got the actual written text. And this is interesting because it's got three different pictures. So it's going to do as much as it can to help the students understand what that word is. You can actually translate the whole document, but in some ways it's probably better to do it word by word, because then the students can just check the words that they're not as familiar with. One more function which might be useful is this one here, which is called grammar options in the middle. You can select for it to show different word classes. So for example, on this one, if I select adjectives, it will highlight the adjectives in here. You can see in that first part that there was not a lot of adjectives. Got about 3 in here, 4. But let's just check if I get rid of that one and go to verbs. You'll see there are way more verbs. And that's probably because of the text type that it is, which is an explaining text type about photosynthesis. One activity you could potentially do here is ask the students to note down the verbs and then have a conversation together about those verbs, and they can chat about what they think this piece is about just based on those. So you might introduce different parts of the text as you go to kind of give them a way into that text.
Great idea, Rebecca.
Thanks, Leslie. All right, this is a really useful function in the Edge browser. You can go to a news article. And for some people, reading a news article like this will be really confusing. It's usually a lot of extra things in there, like ads at the side. There might be some links to other articles. They really just want to read the text of it. So what they can do is there's an immersive reader function on the Edge browser where this little book is. Let's click on that. And that makes the format a lot easier. So it takes out all the things at the side, leaves in the text and the images. Now it's got all the same functions as Class Notebook. It's got the read aloud, It's got the text preferences. Let's do read aloud for a start. And slow it down. Change voice, all the same functions. You can click out of that. Same thing with text preferences. We can change the spacing, we can change the font. People with dyslexia may find this font easier. It's may other people. You can change to a reverse text if that's easier for people to read, and most students will know what suits them. So it's again just about giving them the options to take control of their own learning and what works best for them. We also have the same picture dictionary function. So if we click on war, let's click on war. Right. Then you get a little picture definition. You can also use the translate function in here as well. You can translate the whole page if you want to. So that's going to make things on the internet a lot more accessible to read.
Have a go on your own and explore some of these features. We recommend then teaching the whole class how to use these tools. It's really about providing students with choices on how much help they need. They may be able to use it in class or out of class.
Now, some people might not need these choices, but they're nice to have, and those that do need it will really appreciate not being singled out. Ka kite anō.